There's a quiet war happening inside you, not the kind with bombs and bullets, but with silence, delay, shame, and distraction, the kind that doesn't end in an explosion, but a slow decay. This is the war against your own weakness, and most people are losing. They wake up with good intentions and go to bed full of regret. They talk about goals, dreams, purpose, but under the surface, they're infected by invisible enemies, enemies that kill their discipline, one drop at a time. You've met them before, you just didn't know their names, but today we name them, and we learn how to kill them before they kill us. This is not a motivational speech, this is a weapon. Let's begin. The first enemy, unclear direction, the ghost of someday. You tell yourself, I'll start when the time is right. I just need more clarity. Soon. But here's the brutal truth. You don't need clarity. You need courage. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And waste it we do, sitting in the prison of indecision, chained by the illusion that someday we'll wake up knowing exactly what to do." But that day never comes, because unclear direction isn't a lack of vision. It's fear in disguise, a beautiful mask worn by cowardice. You don't postpone because you're being strategic or wise. You postpone because you're terrified of choosing wrong. So you wait, and wait, for a sign, for the stars to align, for motivation to show up like a messiah and carry you to the promised land, for the mood, the schedule, the magical moment where everything feels right. But no moment is coming. There is no perfect day, no certainty, no clean path, only fog, only risk, only movement or rot. Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated Ronin, understood this. He didn't wait for motivation. He didn't wait for the right sword. He didn't wait for peace in his mind or order in the world. He simply moved. He began fighting duels at a very young age. He killed men older, stronger, more experienced, not because he was the most prepared, but because he was the most willing. He didn't seek clarity. He forged it by acting, by bleeding, by doing. And this is the truth most people can't swallow. You don't find your path, you build it with your footsteps. Action is what makes things clear, and hesitation is what buries potential in the graveyard of someday. If you die standing still, you die with nothing. But if you die moving, even in the wrong direction, you die alive. A sword unsheathed, a life swung. Here's the cure. Pick a direction. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be final, just pick. And then walk into the fog. The path becomes real when you bleed on it. There is no right time. There is only now and what you're willing to do with it. The second enemy, divided attention, the mistress of scattered thoughts. This one is seductive. She whispers to you sweet promises of productivity. You jump between tabs, between texts, between tasks. You touch everything, but finish nothing. Your hands are everywhere, but your impact is nowhere. Your focus has been sold to the highest bidder. Cheap entertainment, shallow gratification, hollow busyness. You convince yourself you're multitasking, but what you're really doing is escaping stillness, escaping depth, escaping the uncomfortable discipline of sustained effort. Because every time you jump to something new, you get a little hit, a ping, a flicker of dopamine. It makes you feel productive, but it's a lie. It's a high without the harvest. It's pleasure without progress, and it leaves you empty. Marcus Aurelius warned of this over 2,000 years ago. If you seek tranquility, do less, or do what's essential. Less noise, more signal, cut the fat, kill the fluff, sharpen your soul. Musashi said it with even colder precision in the Book of Five Rings. Do nothing that is of no use. He didn't just apply this to sword fighting. He applied it to every movement, every thought, every breath. He understood something we've forgotten. Energy is sacred. Every second you give to nonsense, you drain the lifeblood from what truly matters. Divided attention is mental gluttony. You gorge on inputs. You feed your brain so much junk that it can't digest anything real. You become bloated with possibilities, yet starve in results. Your life becomes a graveyard of half-finished projects and broken promises to yourself. Here's the fix. Do one thing, only one thing, until it's done. And when that's finished, move to the next. Relentlessly, like a blade. Sharp, focused, ruthless. Treat your attention like a sword. It must be narrow, honed, and pointed. Because every time you multitask, you don't just split your focus. You dull the edge of your soul. The third enemy, unchallenged routine, the prison of comfort. This one is the deadliest because it looks like safety. You wake up, you repeat the same pattern, you avoid the unknown, you build a cage and call it stability, but what you're really doing is dying slowly. Discipline is a fire. It needs wood to keep burning, and that wood is challenge, fear, discomfort. Musashi lived like a ghost. No home, no comfort. He slept on the ground, trained in the cold. He believed that softness killed the warrior. He sought the edge, always, even when he didn't have to. You want to grow? Then you must break your own routine before it breaks you. You must seek voluntary suffering. You must walk into unfamiliar terrain, because beyond what's comfortable is where life begins. Here's your test. When's the last time you did something that scared you? Not a thrill, not a stunt, but something that forced you to evolve. If you can't remember, you're already rotting. Routine is the enemy of aliveness, and comfort is the quiet assassin of greatness. The fourth enemy? Stubborn pride, the mask of the fallen king. This one is subtle. It whispers things like, I already know this. I'm fine. That doesn't apply to me. But it's not wisdom. It's fear wearing a crown. You refuse to ask for help. You refuse to admit weakness. You avoid critique. You pretend you're already strong, which is why you stay weak. In ancient Japan, the greatest samurai didn't boast. They bowed. They trained endlessly, even after mastery. Musashi was undefeated, yet always refining his form. Because the real warrior isn't stubborn, he's hungry. He doesn't need to be right. He needs to be better. The Stoics knew this too. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Stubborn pride is the last stand of the ego. It's the voice that says, I'm already disciplined enough. But discipline isn't a trophy you win once. It's a ritual you perform every day. And the second you think you've arrived is the second you fall behind. Here's your medicine. Kill your ego. Admit what you suck at. Ask questions. Take notes. Be a student even when you're the teacher. Because real power comes from humility. Not the fake kind, the brutal kind. The kind that hurts. The kind that says, I am not enough yet, but I'm willing to bleed for it. Final warning. You now know their names. They don't show up with swords. They come as whispers, comfort, distraction, delay, ego. And they win, not because they're strong, but because you're asleep. Most people stay asleep their entire lives. They tell themselves stories to justify their decay. They rot behind pretty words like balance and self-care. But you're not most people. You wouldn't be watching this if you were. So here's what you do. Choose a direction, even if it scares you. Do one thing at a time and finish it. Break your routine before it breaks you. Kill your pride before it kills your growth. Simple, not easy, but that's what makes it worth it. Because on the other side of these enemies, there's something rare. Not happiness, not comfort, but power. The kind of power that doesn't need to scream. The kind of power that speaks through your actions. And when you walk with that power, you don't need motivation. You don't need inspiration. You become the storm. Now go. You've got enemies to defeat. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.